Right, as I discussed briefly yesterday, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi told an Irish television news program that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu should resign his position as he presents an obstacle to the two-state solution. Now, this remark follows similar comments from Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer, as well as constant leaks from the Biden administration critical of the Israeli Prime Minister. Now, how should we respond to attacks on the leader of a U.S. ally currently at war following a terrorist attack? And does this undermine Israel's standing in the global community? And does it hurt the United States? Joining me now to discuss this is David Friedman, who served as the U.S. ambassador to Israel during the Trump administration, where he was a part of the group responsible for the Abraham Accords and moving U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. He is the founder of the Friedman Center for Peace Through Strength and the author of the book Sledgehammer: How Breaking with the Past Brought Peace to the Middle East. Ambassador Friedman, welcome to Washington Watch, and I wish you a happy Passover.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it very much.
So in the middle of a multi-front war that poses the greatest threat to Israel since its founding nearly 76 years ago, what do you make of two prominent leaders of the Democratic Party calling for the Prime Minister of Israel to resign?
Look, I think it's a gut punch to the state of Israel. It's a gut punch to all those who support it, to all the people who are risking their lives and in many cases sacrificing their lives to protect the state of Israel against the most vile forces of evil in the world, who frankly hate America just as much as they hate the state of Israel. It's the middle of a war, as you point out. I mean, it's an incredibly difficult, challenging environment under the best of circumstances. And Pelosi and Schumer are just making it worse for Israel because this is their leader. Look, at some point in the future, they'll have an election. They'll choose, whoever they choose as their prime minister. Maybe it'll be Netanyahu, maybe somebody else, but not now. Nobody, even the people in Israel who despise Netanyahu, are rallying around him now as the leader of the country in a time of war. And so what Pelosi and Schumer are doing is undermining Israel. It's, I think, bringing great disgrace to the United States. I think it's making other countries really doubt whether they can trust America as an ally when things get tough. And I think it reveals what I've known for some time, which is that whether it's Schumer or Pelosi, these are people devoid of principles. These are people who are shameless head counters. And they're looking around right now in an election year and seeing a lot of energy right now among young people who are hostile to Israel, and they want to kind of maintain the option for those votes, and that's all this is about. It's just really shameless.
But Ambassador, the media kind of enables this, because think about this for a moment. If Republicans, many of whom have questioned what's happening in Ukraine, as Putin, once again sets his sights as the spring comes on moving into Kyiv, there's been some problems with accountability of the funding there, other issues of how that war has been executed. What if Republicans would have called for Zelensky to resign? I mean, I think the press would have gone crazy.
Oh, of course. Of course they would have. Israel doesn't get a fair shake in the domestic press. I mean, thank God for people like you and a few others who will support Israel and report the facts fairly. It's a huge issue for the state of Israel. They've been trying any number of ways to penetrate this wall of ignorance. I would say a wall of hatred. Not with much success. I mean, you would think that a nation that was invaded by bloodthirsty terrorists who burned babies, raped women, slaughtered people in their beds, took 250 hostages, continue to hold 130 hostages, you would think they would not be garnering much sympathy anywhere in the world. But
Right.
Look, they have, you have colleges all across the country, including my alma mater. I'm very much ashamed of it right now, Columbia, where people are actually saying we are Hamas. It's not
Right.
about peace. It's not about a ceasefire. It's about destroying Israel. And I guess this view had been there in a latent state for quite a while, but it's all coming out to the surface.
So with that in mind, I want to ask you a personal question, if I can. You and I are friends. Only someone who is Jewish can really answer this question, given the history of what has happened to the Jewish people. With the rise of anti-Semitism that we're seeing now across the United States and really around the world, and it was manifesting before these university campuses erupted here in the U.S. post October 7th. With the anti-Semitism on the march, while at the same time the place of safety for Jewish people around the globe, Israel, facing this existential threat, how do you approach this new reality?
Well, unfortunately, it's an old reality. And, we just finished our Passover Seder 2 nights ago. And we say this at every Seder. We say in every generation, they rise up against us and God comes to our aid. And what holds us together is the Bible. The Bible stands with us as our protection. God stands with us with our protection. Look, go back 3,500 years. There aren't a lot of nations right now around from that period. There are no more Canaanites or Jebusites or Phoenicians. We're all that's left of that, of antiquity. And it's because of the book. It's because the book has held us together and God has protected us. And what this does, Tony, is it just reinforces our faith and makes us cling to that, our biblical heritage and the words of God with greater strength.
And it is that book that unites us as Christians to the Jewish community and standing for them and standing for Israel. Ambassador, always great to see you, and thanks so much for taking time to join us today.
Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you for your friendship and for your support for the Jewish people in the state of Israel.
Absolutely. And folks, I do want to encourage you to be a part of Standing with Israel, praying for and standing with Israel. May the 19th is a special Sunday. Pray for and stand with Israel Sunday. You can be a part of that as a church, as individuals. Simply text the word Israel to 67742. I believe this is a critical moment in which the church must stand with Israel. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the program when Pastor Gary Hamrick joins me as to why Christians, people of the book, should be standing with Israel and the Jewish people. So that's still to come.